Hello, welcome to Learning with Ms. H. Today we're going to go through our Earth Science lesson on volcanoes. So the first thing I wanted to let you guys know is there's a little bit of a quirk here with our English language and the word volcano. The plural actually has two ways to spell it. You can do it with just an S or with an ES, and you'll see it both ways, as volcanoes with an S and with an ES. So just a fun fact for you. And we're going to do a couple of things today. The first thing we're going to do is take notes over volcanoes. So you'll be able to do that once we go through all of the assignments. That's coming up. Once you are done taking notes over volcanoes, you're going to go in and do the homework assignment. So you're going to have the actual short homework assignment, which is the first one listed here. And that is just going to be clicking on this and then answering a few questions about the volcano notes. You can do this as many times as you need to get 100% or whatever grade you are happy with. Once you're done with that, you're going to go back and do the adding the volcanoes onto your plate tectonics map. So you're going to get out that plate tectonics map, and there is a page that is linked here in the lesson. It's also linked on the assignment page that's going to give you instructions on how to do this. So if you click on this link here, it's going to take you into this page, which is the instructions on how to add the volcanoes onto the page. So you have this image, and everything that's red on this image is a volcano. So you can see there's lots of areas with high volcanic activity. And what you're going to want to do is add all of these areas onto the map as X's. So you're just going to put an X all along these regions to show that there are volcanoes there. There's some over here in Europe. You've got Yellowstone, some in Washington, Antarctica, South America. Basically anything that is in the notes. And if you will Google the top 10 volcanoes in the world, any of those need to be on there as well. Notice on the Pacific plate here, on the left-hand side of the map, you have this huge ring of volcanic activity around the rim of it. On both sides, you have the left side of the map meets up with the right side of the map. So there's a little bit of the Pacific plate over here on the right side as well. And all the way around this Pacific plate is what is known as the Ring of Fire. It looks like just a giant red ring around the plate. And there's massive volcanic activity in those areas. So make sure that you get all of those volcanoes on there. Iceland is a big one to get on there as well. That one has recently gone off. The one in Spain and Italy have recently gone off. Any of those that are active now are necessary to be on this. So get those put on there. Answer this question. You'll answer this in the homework assignment before you turn it in. When you go back into the lesson page, you'll click on the homework assignment here. There's actually a map down here at the bottom of this lesson page that is an example map, and you can see my X's on it to represent the volcanoes. It is completely finished with fault lines and volcanoes. So that is what yours should look like. When you click on the assignment page, you have the link to the instructions again. There's a link to make a copy of the assignment page itself. And then the assignment page itself also has a link to the instructions. So number one, you're going to answer that question that was in the instructions. And number two, you are going to insert a picture of your finished map into this document and then turn this document in. Once you are done with both of those, you're done for the day. So if you have any questions, you'll need to email me through Canvas or come into one of the live Zoom sessions. But for now, let's jump over into the notes. So first of all, you'll notice that volcanoes is actually spelled differently here than it is on the lesson page. On the lesson page, this E is missing. There are actually two acceptable ways to spell volcanoes. The plural of volcano. You can do an ES on the end or just an S on the end. Either way is acceptable. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is the structure of a volcano. It's got some of the different properties of it, the different characteristics you can see, and some of the things that are produced by it. So take a look at this image. You're going to go ahead and sketch this into your notes. You need to know the anatomy of a volcano and what the parts of it are. And we're going to go through some of these during the lesson today, but go ahead and sketch this out so you kind of have an idea of what we're talking about as we go through these things. Pause the video while you sketch this, and then restart the video once you are done. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you got this all sketched out. It doesn't have to be beautiful, just get rough sketches fine. The magma chamber is all of the magma pushing up to the surface here, pushing out of the mantle up into the crust. And then you have ash layers. These are the pieces that are laid down each time the volcano erupts. The main chimney is the main vent that it's going to come out of. You have the lava flow coming down the sides of the mountain. This is what builds up the volcano. The crater up here at the top, it's like an indentation. It's all of the rock and things that are, when the volcano erupts, it blows all of those rocks out of the top of the volcano, creating this crater here. The rocks that are blown out with the eruption are called volcanic bombs. They can be all different sizes. A secondary cone is basically a second volcano that could erupt nearby. So this one is actually on the edge of the volcano, and you generally will have a second magma chamber flowing. It'll flow up with a new chimney underneath that secondary volcano, or the secondary cone. An inactive volcano is going to be one that is not actively erupting. The cone of the volcano is the actual dome itself. Solidified lava layers are basically lava that has flown down the side and turned into rock. And then you have a fumarole, which is a vent that is just pushing up steam coming out of it. And then you're going to have an ash cloud that's created anytime you have an eruption. That's all of the debris coming off of it. So let's take a closer look at volcanoes. Basically, you have a crack that is called a vent that lets magma come to the surface and flow out from that crack. So a vent is not always at the top of the mountain. It can be at the side of a mountain. It can be just in a barren field somewhere if you have a hotspot volcano. Somewhere underneath the land where the magma pushes out through the surface. That can be a vent opening up a brand new volcano. And that has happened in the past and will continue to happen again in the future, I'm certain. One of the volcanoes we're going to look at today is actually from a vent that opened up in the middle of a farmer's field, creating a new volcano right in the middle of his field in his farm. So, the vent is going to produce things like ash, lava flows, gases. And you're going to have a low pH and the sulfur that comes out of it is going to cause all of the springs and the water in the area to become acidic, and it's going to become toxic. So you'll start seeing die-off of plants and animals in the area because they cannot get the nutrients they need out of the water anymore, and the water is too acidic for them, so it basically poisons them. Gas is coming out. Sulfur is again the most common gas to come out of a volcano. It kind of smells like rotten eggs. It is toxic if you breathe enough of it in. Lava flows, that's the magma flowing down the side of the mountain. Remember, when magma reaches the surface, we call it lava. And lava flows are basically those rivers of magma, those rivers of lava flowing. Ash is all of the pyroclastic material. Pyroclastic just means bits of volcanic rock. So all of the stuff that is blown out of the cone area, the crater area of the volcano. Go ahead and pause my video here and watch this video about the 2018 eruption of the volcano in Hawaii. It's just a couple minutes long, but it gives you an idea of the slow movement of the lava, but the damage that it causes. I mean, things instantly catch fire as soon as it touches them. So take a look at that video, pause me while you watch that, and then come back. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you found that interesting. This volcano in Hawaii erupts quite often. They have several of them out there that will erupt. It is a quite common occurrence there compared to other places. So hopefully you found that interesting. It did erupt for several years there. So let's take a look at the different shapes of volcanoes that we can have. So remember, the dome is the part that is built up over time. So there's a couple of different dome shapes we can have. The first one is a shield, and it's long, gently sloping sides, almost like an oval shape. It's like a pyramid that somebody stepped on and squished down. So this is a shield volcano with the long sloping sides. It doesn't have like the dramatic slope to it. This is Mauna Kea in Hawaii. This is one of several volcanoes they have there. Second type is a cinder cone. The cinder cone is formed from ejected lava. It's kind of a violent formation, and all of that lava rains down, and you get these humps. They're not very tall. Usually cinder cones are less than 1,000 feet above their surroundings, because once you get done with ejecting the lava, it kind of dies out. So these are, when you see cinder cone volcanoes, you'll see oftentimes several of these hump things, these little hills. Those are volcanic domes. Coming up on a slide, we're going to take you through Craters of the Moon National Park, where you can see a lot of these. This particular one is one from Paracutin, Mexico. This is the one that I was telling you about that erupted in the middle of a guy's field. This used to be a field of corn. And then in 1943, the guy was out in his field and he noticed a crack in the field, and it was venting steam. And then over the course of a couple of days, it started venting more and more, and then he started seeing lava come out, and then eventually it developed this cinder cone. The eruption of this cinder cone volcano in his field lasted for about 9 years. This video is from Craters of the Moon. You'll see some pictures coming up of us actually hiking. This is a cinder cone volcano. It is not an active volcano right now, obviously, because we are able to climb to the top of it. It is a lot more steep than it looks here, but it is that less than 1,000 feet tall. This is all volcanic material that we're hiking on here. And this is a video that was put together by a gentleman on YouTube, and you'll meet them in this video, and they talk to some of the park rangers and that kind of thing. So go ahead and pause my video, watch this one. It's super interesting to see all of this basically devastation in the area, and then also recovery. So pause me, watch this video. This one I think is about 10 minutes long. Third type of dome. Hopefully that was a video that you enjoyed. The third type of dome you can see is called a strato, or a composite volcano. This is the tall, dramatic volcano that you're used to seeing. So this is Mount St. Helens. This is up in Washington. This is what Mount St. Helens looked like in 1979, early 1980. In 1980, it erupted. That's what this right-hand picture is Mount St. Helens erupting. When it erupted, it blew off more than 1,500 feet of the crater. So you can see all of this basically all of this that's in the snow is gone. It blew off the top 1,500 feet of the volcano when it erupted. It was very dramatic, very dangerous. There were 57 people who lost their lives in that eruption. It was a big deal in the 80s. So, strato or composite volcanoes, these are the tall, super steep ones that you see in the movies. These are built up because lava is flowing down the side and cooling super fast. So as it cools really fast, you get that really steep, dramatic angle to it. And again, these are the most explosive, dangerous types. So this is a before eruption, after eruption, and then this final picture is an image while it was erupting. And that is just a huge amount of ash cloud pyroclastic material, and you can see it flowing out from there. Magma that creates this type of volcano. When you have this type of volcano, this strato or composite volcano, the magma has a very high silica content. Silica is what gives the magma its viscosity. So that taffy feel, the higher amount of silica it has, the more taffy-like it is. It has a high gas content in this type of volcano, and because of this, with the thick magma, high silica, high gas, it's super explosive, and that's why it's so violent and dangerous. You will need to know this slide for the test. This is slide 9. High gas content and high silica content is your stratocomposite volcano. And that is what makes it so explosive. So one of the major features of a volcano is called a caldera. This is basically the large depression at the top of the volcano. So this area here is the part that was blown away during the eruption. So it was blown off when the explosion happened of the volcano erupting. So the magma chamber underneath builds up, builds up, builds up, pushes towards the surface, builds in pressure. It finally gets enough pressure that it just explodes through the surface, blowing off all of this top of the cone as the lava bombs and the debris and the ash cloud. Once the lava is blown off and out, that magma is cooling, and as that magma cools, it's going to start collapsing again and going back down. And it's going to make like this depression in the top of the dome. So it's going to cool, it's going to solidify down here, and then this particular one has been filled in with rainwater. This is the caldera of what is the Herbert volcano. This is in the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. This is a little lake that was formed after the eruption, just from it capturing rainwater and that rainwater being held in place there. Many others are going to remain empty. Not all of them are going to hold water. So this volcano, this is called the Bandera volcano in New Mexico. This one, you can actually hike into the middle of it. I'm actually in the caldera of this volcano. I'm actually right along the side of it. So this is a view on the way up to it in the middle here. And then this is us standing at the edge of the footpath. This is where it starts getting too steep to get back into it here. The sides get too steep and too smooth to be able to get in there. But we're actually inside this top part of the volcano there. So this is the crater that's left behind here, or the caldera that's left behind. Super cool. Highly recommend this experience. It's about mile and a half from the parking lot to this point inside the caldera. However, it is quite the climb. You are going up about 500 feet. This is a cinder cone volcano. So you're going up about 500, 600 feet to get into this caldera, and you basically walk around the mountain there. It's super cool. This one was actually breached, so when it exploded, it dropped all the material, but then this edge down here was blown away, so all of the lava flowed out through here like a river. So there's actually a lava field down past this where all of the lava was flowing out like a river. It's a really cool place to visit if you're ever in the area. I highly recommend you go there. They also have an ice cave. And we'll take a look at that when we do our caves lesson. But the ice cave is really cool because it's a cave basically underneath the lava flow. And because it's in the lava, it maintains a temperature below freezing because it's so well insulated. So everything in it is frozen. It's very cool. There's 3 classifications of volcanoes. So we looked at the types of domes. Now we're going to look at the classifications. We have extinct, we have dormant, and we have active. So 3 types here. The first one is extinct. These are volcanoes that have not erupted in a very long time. We see no evidence or records of them having erupted basically at any point during human history. We can look at it and see that these are all ancient eruptions. Hasn't happened any time in the last couple thousand years. Seismologists don't detect any activity at all at these volcanoes. They still have the seismographs there. They have the stations there measuring it, but they don't detect any activity at all. They're basically dead. So this one on the left is Tamu Massif. This is actually the largest volcano on Earth, even larger than the Yellowstone volcano. And this one is an underwater volcano in the Pacific, and I've circled it on the image here. This is the largest on Earth. The one on the right is an extinct volcano in Oregon. It's called Mount Thielsen. And that is this one on the right here. So the next one then is active. These are the ones that have activity or are currently erupting. It has erupted recently if it is not at present. We have a lot of these all over the planet. Italy has several. The island of Sicily specifically has Etna on the main island and Stromboli off the coast. These 2 images are of the Stromboli volcano. You can see up here, there's a little bit of venting going on. On this side, there's actually a little village over here to the left, and then there's some touristy stuff here on the right. We were actually able to take a boat out to the Stromboli volcano and dock here, and we're actually out swimming at the base of this volcano. So it's a very cool experience again if you get over there. This is the back side of the island, and up here at top, you can see the steam coming out up here, and then this is the lava flow that comes down. At night you can see this. It was actually actively erupting while we were there, but it's small minor eruptions, so it spits lava out of the top here, almost like one of those fountain fireworks that you see, and then it comes down the side. And it's really hard to see it during the day, but at night you can see it lit up here. And again, it's super cool. We were on a boat sailing around it after we got done swimming down here. It does occasionally have some larger volcanic eruptions. It did just recently have a large volcanic eruption, as did Etna on the island of Sicily. So it is pretty active. And there are quite a few volcanoes right now that are erupting. We have a lot of seismic activity happening, and those vibrations and things, that seismic activity can sometimes basically shake loose the magma and make the volcanoes erupt. And sometimes the magma moving is what causes the vibrations and predicts the volcanic eruptions. So there's differences in the types of vibrations that we can feel and that we can detect. The ones that are really deep Strong vibrations are earthquakes from rocks moving and shifting, and those can actually cause volcanic eruptions. And then you have the shallower quakes that are magmatic in origin from the magma flowing underneath the surface. Shallower quakes means magma's moving, which means it's close, which means there's likely going to be an eruption soon. There are a lot of shallow quakes here at Stromboli because it is constantly erupting. So this is a dormant volcano. This is that same volcano from Craters of the Moon. So we are hiking up the volcano here. It is super windy near the top. This is the least amount of wind I could get and not be at the bottom of it. So it's super windy, hiking up to the top of it. This one's a fairly easy hike, although it is almost, straight up instead of zigzaggy. It is a little bit smoother, so it's the volcanic ash, but it's been trampled enough here that it's fairly smooth. So it wasn't a bad hike for going up there. They do still detect some activity here. They do have times where parts of the park are closed because of seismic activity. When we were there, you could not go into any of the caves or onto any of the lava flow areas because they were having seismic activity, and they don't want anyone to get trapped in there if the seismic activity increases. So this is the Inferno Cone at Craters of the Moon in Idaho. And then the one before was the Bandera Volcano, New Mexico. All right. That is it for the notes. Once you are done with taking notes, you can go in and do your 2 assignments for the day, and then you are done with this lesson. Remember that you can always ask questions on Canvas or log into the live Zoom at the beginning of 6th hour each even day, and we will see you next time.